Hi everyone, welcome back. If you didn't catch my last video, we are going to be going over some neat tools, tricks, and techniques for Photoshop that you might want to use in a business setting. By now, you should have already had everything installed, set up, and ready to go and have a better understanding of Photoshop. But if you haven't caught my last video, I would recommend starting there. I'm going to have it linked in the top right-hand corner of your screen. There should be like a list of all the videos I've made so far. And if you want to refer back to the first one, that's probably a better place to start from here. Or if you already kind of know Photoshop and you just want a little bit of a refresher, I guess you could start here too. So by now, you should have it all installed. And if you don't, like I said, go back to the other video. And we're going to be going over today headshots and what you can do to make them look nicer. Say your company needs X, Y, and Z set up. You can absolutely do so, and I'm going to give you the tools to do it. For now, open up whatever image you'd like. It doesn't have to be you. We're just practicing today, but it's great if it is. And I'm going to be using a picture of myself as an example. So here's me. Very attractive, very pretty. But with that said, if I was going to send this into I don't know, for a job interview, or I was updating my profile picture on the company's intranet or software, I don't know what you want to do it for. There's plenty of reasons. LinkedIn even. I would want to edit this a little bit. I'm all for body positivity, but there's some blemishes on here. Although it's a great photo, very high quality, you can see here in the back it's all blurred. That's a depth of field effect, and that's pretty typical on most modern cameras or smartphone cameras. It looks real nice, and as you can see, I pop out a little bit more. If you'd like me to go over how to do this if you don't have an image like this, I can absolutely do that. But for now, I'm just going to be editing mostly my face here. The first thing I'm going to be doing here is looking at these tools on the left here. So like I said in the last video, these are kind of broad strokes, pun intended, for editing your photos. So if you're doing big stuff, I would refer to here, and more minute stuff, more fine-tuning is here. So I'm going to be starting with a tool called the blemish remover, or spot healing brush, sorry. And this brush, you can't see it on your screen, but if you hover over it, it kind of just merges a whole lot of similar patterns together to make it look like it's one continuous surface. And one of the great benefits of using a tool like this is that you're able to cover up some of the spots on your face or otherwise. So as you can see here, I've got a little bit of spots on my face. I had acne when I was younger, so it's still kind of there. And what I can do with the spot healing brush is just go over like that. And as you can see, it's gone. Pretty cool, right? One thing you're going to be careful of when using this brush is not to do it when there's a lot of intersecting colors, lines, or if there's like a fabric to my shirt here or my skin here. I wouldn't want to put a spot healing brush there because it'll mess up, as you can see it just did. So I'm going to undo that. That's Control Z if you didn't know. And I'm going to start editing all of my little blemishes here. So that's gone. That's gone. That's gone. That's gone, and it looks pretty good. You can go in as much detail as you'd like. For the purpose of this video, I'm just going to do a brief, little concise overview, so I won't go too in-depth. And if you'd like to change the size of that, you can go up to here, the top right, or top left, sorry, and you can change the size of the brush right there. Now, the next thing I want to do is, let's say that I don't want this background here. I quite like this background. That's called the depth of field effect, if you didn't know, where it's blurry in the front, or blurry in the back, and it's clear in the front. And if you'd like, just leave a comment below, and I can absolutely go over that. But for now, I'm just going to be focusing on my face. But let's say that I want to remove the background, right? Say my company just wants that, and they're going to put it somewhere. I don't know what the case might be, but they want it gone. So I can do that really easy. So if I click up here on the little magic wand tool, hover over it if you'd like a tooltip. But essentially what this does is it connects similar looking areas of your photo. And this is super useful for if you're doing layering, and we'll go over that later. So for now, I'm just going to use it to delete my background. As you can see here, it's deleted it's selected everything in this little area, and that's because it's one continuous color, and it's easy for the computer to identify. But we want more than that area gone, so we're going to hold Shift and keep left clicking. We want it to be as much of a continuous pattern as possible. So as you see here, there's a lot of different moving lines. It's not detecting all of this. You just hold Shift and you keep clicking it. And that's going to make it one continuous selection without removing any details. So as you can see here, it's getting more rounded towards my face, and it's not quite going on my face, which is good. And you can get real precise with this. I'm going to be pretty broad here just because of the video length. But you can get really, really nice photos if you really spend some time with this. Okay, perfect. And as you can see here, there's a little bit of jagged edges on myself, and I don't want that. So what I'm going to be doing is holding Alt and then left-clicking this, and that deletes an area. And as you can see here, it deleted a little bit of an area I didn't want. So I'm going to click on that again, and there we go. It just takes a little bit of playing around, but once you've got it, you've got it. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to show you a little bit about layering. So you right-click on this area that you selected now, and you can, you're not going to be able to see this, but at the very bottom it says layer via copy and layer via cut. Layer via copy is something else. We don't need that right now, but layer via cut is what we're going to select. So layer via cut, and as you can see down here, there's another layer. And so what we're going to do here is just remove that. So there you go. The background's gone. And if you post this on any website, it'll just take the form of whatever background you have on it, because it's completely gone. It's not white, it's gone. It just appears white. So this is a blank background. And now that that is gone, you can delete it. So this would be primarily just to make sure everything looks okay. If I was going to spend some more time with this, I could blur this area. So remember that tool we showed earlier, that spot healing brush? You can also kind of play with it here. Oops, it's the wrong layer. To make it a little less jagged. Sometimes it smooths out. There's also a smoothing tool, and you can play with that as well. But for now, I think it looks pretty good. So now that I've got everything looking the way I'd like it to, I'm going to now make it black and white. Say your company would ask you to make it black and white. That's something a company that I worked for very briefly asked me to do. So I'm going to go over how to do that as well. So what I'm going to do is just click on layers here if it's not already. Make sure that you're selecting the background layer. I know it's not the background, but for the way Photoshop works, it's going to call it the background. I'm going to hit adjustments. And then I'm going to look on these little options here. And as you can see, I'm not looking for brightness or levels or curves or exposure or anything like that. I'm going to hit black and white. And that just does it by default. And as you can see here, there's some weird blemishes that come out when you have a whole lot of different colors. Just the way that, I'm not going to go into it. It's not super important right now. But different colors can expose different areas of your skin or pictures. And it might look a bit weird, so play around with these sliders or just hit auto. And that looks a bit better to me. And you can see there's some blemishes up here as well that I could play with. That was messing with reds. See, as you know, more red you, or less red you add, the lighter it gets. So that would be an adjustment I would make. But yeah, that should be a pretty good overview of how you can make a beautiful profile picture. Thank you guys.